Welcome to NASCIO's Watch on Washington, a roundup of IT-related news from your nation's capital. There was a lot of buzz this week over Senator Burr's and Feinstein's encryption bill titled the Compliance with Court Orders Act of 2016, which would direct companies to offer technical assistance to help government officials access encrypted data. Privacy champion Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon has vowed to stop the bill's progression. The White House also weighed in on the measure, with White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest saying both their ability to pass legislation and put together constructive legislation that could pass are both questions that are significantly in doubt. This is not the only encryption bill on the books. House Homeland Security Committee Chairman Michael McCaul and Senator Mark Warner of Virginia have introduced compromise legislation that would establish a commission to study how police might be able to access encrypted data without compromising security. You may recall the contentious open meeting at the FCC at the end of March, where much of the attention centered around proposed changes to the LIFELINE program and Commissioner Pai's objections. House member Austin Scott of Georgia introduced the following bill, controlling the unchecked and reckless ballooning of LIFELINE Act of 2016, or the Curb LIFELINE Act of 2016, which would cap the program's budget at just a little over $1 billion. The House Energy and Commerce Committee held a hearing on the measure on April 13 and plans to hold a markup on April 18th. Another hot topic is the FAA reauthorization. Two bills exist, one in the Senate, one in the House, and they are very different from each other. Of interest to NASCIO members, the Senate version includes Section 2142, which would preempt state and local laws related to UAS or drones. The NGA, or the National Governors Association, has come out with a statement to support the bipartisan Feinstein-Tillis-Blumenthal amendment, which would strike this provision. FirstNet also made the headlines this week as they extended their RFP bid deadline by a couple weeks to May 31st. It was previously due by May 13th. You can see on the slide here the FirstNet CEO, Mike Poth, justifying the decision. Our decision to extend the deadline for final proposals was driven by both the volume and nature of the capability statements, as well as requests for extensions we received from interested parties. FirstNet does intend to stay on track to award by November 1st. Also in the news this week, President Obama's Cyber Commission held their first meeting on Thursday, April 14th. You can see on the slide here the leadership and members for the commission. They are charged with providing long-term recommendations by December 1st. Regarding appropriations, the Senate is a little bit ahead of the House. Senate Budget Chairman Michael Enzi set budget toplines for defense and domestic spending that are equal to the caps enacted under last year's bipartisan budget deal. This move allows the Senate to work on appropriations in absence of a budget resolution. The House remains without a budget resolution and will not be able to bring appropriations bills to the floor until May 15th. This week coming up, there are several cybersecurity-related hearings. Of interest to NASCIO members, the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, Subcommittee on IT, led by Representative Will Hurd of Texas, will be discussing federal cybersecurity detection, response, and mitigation. In the House Small Business Committee, they will be discussing how cyber attacks threaten both small business and the federal government. Stay tuned for more updates from these hearings. That concludes this month's Watch on Washington. If you have any questions, please feel free to email Yajan Cook at ycook@nascio.org. Thank you and see you next month.